guys. This unit here is a Maxforce DT. This is going to be a little different, guys. We've only done, I believe, since the day I started here, I think we've only done 4 units with this problem. Reason for it is these units used to be under warranty. Warranty faded off like maybe, I'm going to say, a year and a half ago. Most of them were done as like a recall, but there was a few stragglers that were okay at the time, so recall went passed by, ended, and now we're stuck with the repairs ourselves. So on this one, guys, that is what we're going to replace right there. That is our EGR cooler for a Maxforce DT, which is Maxforce 9/10. So this is the one we're going to be working on, guys. They're in there. I mean, they're in there pretty tight, dude. Turbos come off, air cleaner comes off, those heater hoses come off. We got to remove the doghouse. There's a couple of one elbow that wraps around the engine, the back of the engine, and then of course a connection to the exhaust and to the EGR cooler. There's 2 hoses that you can't see right now. It's from under the unit. It's pretty. Oh, you'll see once I start. Guys, it's just a little preview for tomorrow. Here, guys, this is the wraparound elbow that I was telling you about. As soon as we remove that, the EGR cooler is bad. So as soon as we remove that, you'll be able to look inside of it, and you'll see you'll either see red water antifreeze dripping out of it, or you'll see that it's all wet. Instead of it being dry like a grayish black, it's going to be a dark black, and it's going to be somewhat moist. That there, the water that's being lost because of that EGR cooler is actually rerouted through here, and the EGR valve is sucking it back into the engine. That gives you to remove this little elbow, you got these 2 10mm bolts right here, and then you have 3 1/2-inch bolts holding this tube to the EGR cooler. Now there's one bolt over here in the bottom that's very hard to get to. You can't see it, so we had to get a extension with a little 1/2-inch deep swivel socket on there, and this is the hardest one to get to. Well, now in here, this is the hardest bolt to extract or remove because of its location. It's very pretty much, I mean, I'm not gonna say it's impossible, because I mean, we've already got, well, that's, like I said, I mean, this is real hard to get to. It's in a very odd place. So now that we got the bolt loose, the nut loose, voila, here he goes. This is it right here. So the other 2 are a little bit easier. One of them is very easy. The other one is somewhat easier than that one. I got the hardest one done first. On this one here, guys, you use a 10mm socket. Just standard 1/4-inch drive. Thing is, the socket, you have to hold it between your fingers, bring it up from behind that tube, put it on the extension, and then slide the extension toward onto the bolt. And then from there, go ahead and get your ratchet and I did tell you guys, this one here is not a nut. This one is an actual bolt. on the inside part of that little neck. So once you get this bolt loose, alright, remove the socket from the extension and bring them out. And when it comes to the last bolt, it's got 3 studs, sorry. You can see it right there. This is the easiest one to get to. I just dropped that one, guys. I heard it hit the floor, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it. Well, guys, now comes the 2 10mm bolts up here. These are not that hard. These are a little easier to work with because you can actually see them. Alright, you got those, and then you got one more bolt to go, guys, and done. Brackets loose. Look at that, guys. Moist, humid. Moist, humid. That's where the water's. Well, guys, that's part of the EGR cooler. As you can see, the inside of it, you can see that like a moist, like a wet soot, wet smoke or carbon or whatever you want to call it, carbon deposit. So we call it soot. That there is somewhat moist. That is where our coolant is going. So I'm going to go ahead and continue, guys. The rest I'm going to go ahead and do under the hood, removing the turbo, stuff like that. And I don't know how far we're going to get to go today, but I'll try and get as much of it done as I can. Well, guys, we got to remove this air inlet tube heat shield. 10mm bolts. It's got 3 of them. Got 5 15mm nuts holding the turbo onto the intake exhaust, and of course a couple of hoses, little harnesses, stuff like that, and a couple of oil drain tubes. Well guys, we're a little bit closer to getting to that EGR cooler. As you can see, it is right there. I mean, it's already exposed. I'm going to go ahead. Well guys, we have to remove this these two lines here to be able to remove this piece. It falls to the exhaust. It's got this little wastegate. So well guys, we removed the two lines on the outside. I went ahead and loosened the fuel supply line, vacuum line off of that little cylinder. Now we have a 15mm bolt right here holding this section in place. That's got to come off because this little arm that comes off of the EGR cooler is sandwiched in between that and the block. So let me go ahead and get that 15mm bolt out of the way and go ahead and try that out. Well guys, this guy's loose. Well guys, now comes the EGR cooler. This is going to be the fun part, guys. So let me go ahead and get some of this stuff out of the way. These little bolts holding the water inlet tubes in. This one over here. And those three bolts are easy. There's two down here in the bottom, dude, that are they're a little tricky. There's one right here and the other one's over here. So let me go ahead and get those off and continue. Well guys, the two bolts in the bottom, like I said, one of them is right here and the other one is right here. I'm not going to be able to record this. There's no way for the camera to go in there, but they're 13mm bolts, and they're a little hard to get to, but extensions, swivels, I mean, a little bit of everything, and you'll be able to get them out. All right guys, let me go ahead and get those two out, and then we'll continue. Well guys, this EGR cooler is out. I'm going to go ahead and close the video off on this one and go ahead. I just don't want to make it too long. I'm going to close this one off here, call it EGR cooler replacement number 1, and then I'll go ahead and do the number 2 on the install. And on the one for the install, I'm going to go ahead and tear this one open so I can show you guys what the inside of these suckers look like. Just for shits and giggles. I mean, I don't have to. The new ones, I mean, we got to return this as a core. I am going to return it, but first we're going to go ahead and tear it open just so you guys can see how they put these together and why they fail. I mean, they just clog up with a bunch of such. The emissions on diesels, I mean, it's ridiculous, dude. I don't know if they did it to make money or they did it to be cleaner. Well, whatever it is, it's working. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and close this one off here, guys. Appreciate you watching, and like and subscribe.